went on the maiden voyage of Icon of the Seas.
Let's talk about all the dining options aboard the world's largest cruise ship. Welcome back to A Couple Travelers. Andy and Jenna here. In today's video, we're going through the more than 20 eateries aboard Icon of the Seas, from all of the new options to the returning favorites as well.
We're going to be sharing where they're located on the ship, when they're open, the type of cuisine, if it's included in your cruise fare or if it's an upcharge, and share our thoughts if we ate there, because spoiler alert, we ate at almost all of them, minus just 3 of the restaurants. There's only so much time in your cruise after all, so let's get into it.
Up first, we're going to start with the quick bites or the grab and go category. So when Royal Caribbean designed Icon of the Seas, they sought out to create the ultimate family vacation, and a part of that was giving families the option to grab things on the go. So you will find a lot of new dining concepts in this section.
Up first, we have AquaDome Market, which is Royal Caribbean's food hall concept, the very first that they've had, and we absolutely loved this. It is located in the AquaDome, which is the front of the ship, deck 15, and this is included in your cruise fare. They actually have 5 stands. They have Max, which is mac and cheese, Feta Mediterranean, which is Mediterranean food. They have Toast and Garden, which is sandwiches and salads. They have Ginger, which is Asian food, and they have Creme de la Crepe, which is a creperie. This is open for breakfast beginning around 10:30, lunch, dinner, and late night. For late night, Creme de la Crepe and Feta Mediterranean were not open, the other 3 stands were. But overall, we thought this was some of the best complimentary food on Icon of the Seas. We loved the food hall concept, and we thought this was a great spot to have lunch on embarkation day. A lot of people head to the Windjammer, which tends to be really crowded, and we did not find crowds here on embarkation day, so a really great place to grab some food on your first day.
The next quick bite option is Basecamp. This is also a new concept for Royal Caribbean and is located in Thrill Island on deck 16. Now, this is kind of a hybrid menu. There are some complimentary items and there are some upcharge items as well. The upcharge items we did find to be of decent quality, and that includes things like a smash burger, Wisconsin cheese curds, and then your complimentary options were things like pretzel bites and tater tots. So a pretty diverse menu, a really good option if you are hanging out in Thrill Island for the day and just need a lunch option. Overall, we really like this restaurant. I think the only takeaway is that we wish it was all complimentary, because in Thrill Island there is not one full complimentary option. So it would have been nice to have seen that.
Up next, we have the deserted Milkshake Bar. This is actually right next to Basecamp on deck 16 of Thrill Island, and this is an over-the-top milkshake bar. This is not included in your cruise fare, and surprisingly isn't included even if you have the unlimited dining package, even if you have the unlimited drink package. These milkshakes will still be an additional cost to you. We did get a milkshake on our trip. I believe the milkshake was $14, but then we paid extra to put a shot of Bailey's in it, so it was an over $20 milkshake for the boozy option. Just didn't seem worth it, in my opinion, for something like as simple as a milkshake.
I get why Royal did this. It's something that a lot of restaurants have kind of been creating a concept around in the last like 10 years, I would say. So in theory works great, but a little too expensive for our taste.
Yeah, and especially if you're already shelling out the money for an unlimited dining or drink package and then you still have to pay for this, that would have put a bad taste in my mouth.
Up next is one of my personal favorites, El Loco Fresh. This is your Mexican fast casual option located in Chill Island on deck 15. It actually has a bar with it as well, Cantina Fresca, so if you're looking for a tequila soda or a margarita, really great spot to go to for that while you're hanging out in Chill Island. This is a returning concept for Royal, probably I would call it a fan favorite. It's on a bunch of their other ships, so really happy to see them bring it on board Icon. This restaurant is included in your cruise fare and it is open for lunch and dinner, so a really great option to go to if you're hanging out in Chill Island for the day. get some nachos for lunch, a burrito, a quesadilla, and get a drink to go along with it, and you'll be all set at El Loco Fresh.
My personal favorite thing about El Loco Fresh is the toppings bar by far. So they pretty much have everything there, and they have a huge selection of salsas as well and hot sauces. So if that's your thing, you'll just love that here. And great ocean views from this, so a great spot. Up next, we have Izumi in the Park. Izumi is a sushi and hibachi restaurant that is on previous ships, but Izumi in the Park is a brand new concept on Icon of the Seas. It is actually located in Central Park on deck 8, and it is a walk-up window. So you can actually walk up and get sushi, pork dumplings, and their signature bubble cones, which is probably my favorite dessert that I had on
really
Icon.
good.
So we actually got the beach umbrella waffle cone, which was vanilla ice cream, strawberry drizzle, rainbow sprinkles, and a cocktail umbrella in a bubble waffle. And it was named our best dessert on Icon in our awards video, which we'll link below if you want to check out all of the Icon of the Seas awards that we gave out after the maiden voyage that we went on. We had a lot of fun giving out awards from our sailing. Everything at the walk-up window is an upcharge. We paid $8 for the bubble waffle cone that we had, but we found that well worth the $8 for sure.
Up next, we have Park Café. It is located in Central Park on deck 8, and it is a grab-and-go option included in your cruise fare, open for breakfast and lunch. Now, for breakfast, they have a bunch of breakfast sandwich options. They have fruit, they have pastries, they have drip coffee, burritos, they have a bagel bar station, things like that. And then for lunch, they have deli sandwiches, salads, so kind of your typical deli style kind of grab and go food. Overall, a really good quick service option and a returning fan favorite on Icon of the Seas.
Up next, we have Pearl Cafe, a brand new concept on Icon located on deck 6, right behind the Pearl. It is a fast casual spot that is pretty much open almost 24/7. I never saw it. It is 24/7.
Yeah.
I never saw it closed. They offer grab and go options. So for all meals, it's a lot of pastries, it's a lot of sandwiches, salads, veggies, and dip. Just anything that you could think of, fruit cups that you could just grab when you need something and go. And then they also have specialty coffees here. So it's a lot of Starbucks products without it being an official Starbucks. What I love most about the Pearl is the floor to ceiling windows. It is an awesome spot to hang out. It was always like a lot of people, that was like the popular spot to go, sit down, have something quick to eat, have a coffee, relax and hang out. It is just absolutely beautiful there. And it is all included in your cruise fare minus the specialty coffee.
And this is where you will go if you did purchase a coffee card prior to your sailing. This is where you will go to actually get that and then redeem it for those specialty coffees. This spot does tend to get very popular, especially for breakfast. We got some food here before we went to Perfect Day at Coco Key. Had to wait a few minutes. The line got longer after we got our food, so just keep that in mind while you're kind of planning where you want to eat. Up next is Sorento's, a Royal Caribbean staple. This is your pizza option aboard the ship. It is included in your cruise fare and it is open for lunch, dinner, and late night. This is located in the Royal Promenade on deck number 5, obviously where you go for all of your different pizza options. And a new thing they have at Sorento's on Icon is draft beer, which they haven't had aboard some of the other ships as well. So really cool to see there.
Up next, we have Sprinkles, which is soft serve ice cream. It is included in your cruise fare, and there are 2 locations. We have one in Chill Island on deck 15 and one in Surfside on deck 7.
Up next is Surfside Bites. This is a brand new concept located in Surfside on deck 7. So if you are hanging out as a family in Surfside, really good spot to go to between the hours of 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. where you could get burgers, hot dogs, French fries. We got one day some churros and cookies. So just a good variety of very casual quick service food while you're hanging out in Surfside.
and this is included in your cruise fare. That wraps up the quick bite section, but before we move on, I did want to mention that I am a travel agent, and if you're interested in sailing on Icon of the Seas or any of Royal Caribbean's other ships, I'd love to help you with that. You can find my contact information in the video description below, and in case you didn't know, it is completely free to work with a travel agent. So if you're interested in more information or a no obligation quote, please feel free to reach out. Everyone loves buffets on cruises. It's definitely something that you associate with cruising in general, and there are 2 buffets on Icon of the Seas, one brand new concept and one returning favorite. For the returning favorite, we have the Windjammer Buffet, and it is actually located on every single ship in the Royal Caribbean fleet. It is open for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And on Icon of the Seas, it is located on deck 15. And what I love about this Windjammer is that you have both ocean views, and then you also have views of Surfside down on deck 7, and you can see up to Thrill Island above on deck 16, which is really unique. So great views pretty much no matter where you sit in this buffet. And the Windjammer always has such a wonderful selection. For dinner specifically, they do a different theme night every single night. So they'll do a Mexican night, a Caribbean night, etc. And then they always have their, returning stations every night. So they'll have like their pasta bars and their, if you need a burger, they have their salad bars. You can always find something that you like. The Windjammer is included in the cost of your cruise fare, and there are plenty of gluten-free and vegetarian options available. There's even a full gluten-free section dedicated to the buffet. So that's really helpful to know if you yourself are gluten-free.
The other buffet aboard Icon is Surfside Eatery. This is a brand new concept located in Surfside on deck 7. It is included in your cruise fare, and it is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now this is a great alternative that Royal came up with for the Windjammer. The Windjammer, if you are familiar with cruising, or Royal Caribbean specifically, can be very overwhelming, especially on the peak meal time. So right in the morning for breakfast, middle of the day for lunch, and like 5, 6 o'clock for dinner, it can be very crowded in there. So this was a great dedicated option for the families who are hanging out in Surfside to go where it's just more chill. The buffet stations themselves are actually a little bit lower, so it's easier for kids to serve themselves. So parents can have a much easier time bringing their kids there, knowing that it's not as overwhelming, not as crowded, and the kids will be able to kind of have a little autonomy within the space. And the food overall is more kid friendly. So across the different meal times, you have a lot of your buffet staples, but it is geared more towards kids, but a great variety of options. We ate there for breakfast one morning, and we're really happy with the food. The quality was great. The theming is also great in here, as it is across the entire Surfside neighborhood. So overall, we really applaud Royal for coming up with this dining option.
Up next are the 2 options that Royal is calling elevated dining experiences. Up first, we have the Empire Supper Club. Now, Royal defines this as a lavish night of luxury. It is an 8-course, 3-hour dining experience. It is specifically designed for adults, although kids are able to go. Formal attire is required, and it's meant to be reminiscent of New York City in the 1930s. The restaurant is located just outside of Central Park on deck 8, and they actually keep the doors completely locked. This is most definitely an upcharge, and even if you have the unlimited dining package, you still need to pay an additional fee to do the Empire Supper Club. I believe it'll depend on your sailing how much that additional fee would be. And to put this in perspective, Empire Supper Club is once a night because it is a 3-hour experience. Approximately 38 guests get to do this, and Icon holds about 7,000-ish people. So when you times that times if it's a 7-night sailing, not that many people get to experience the Empire Supper Club, so we did not get to be a part of that.
The other elevated dining experience is the celebration table. Now this is located in the AquaDome on deck 15, specifically in Hooked Seafood. This is essentially a rebrand of what's been the chef's table aboard other Royal Caribbean ships, and really a dining option for your special occasion VIP treatment. If you're dining here, you have a choice of 4 prefix menus: American, Italian, Asian, or seafood, and they're all served family style along with a signature cocktail. And you could do up to 14 guests for the celebration table, and advanced reservations are required. Since this is a fancier, more exclusive meal, obviously this is an upcharge, so just plan accordingly if you want to do this on your sailing.
The next section is going to be sit-down restaurants on Icon of the Seas, and you will find a lot of returning favorites in this section. And kicking things off is going to be Chops Grill. Chops is located in Central Park on Icon of the Seas, which is deck 8. And Chops is open for both lunch and dinner. Now, Chops Grill is a fan favorite. It can be found on every single Royal Caribbean ship, and it is an upcharge. For lunch, it will be a little bit cheaper than dinner, for example. And for Icon, we spent about $150 for the 2 of us to have dinner at Chops. But I always find that Chops is pretty much worth it.
I think the only thing about Chops on Icon is we wished it was a little, I guess, different from the other options. I think it's nice to have it be familiar in a lot of the favorites, but I think we were hoping for a little bit of a switch up of the menu. So in my mind, like the 150 might not have been as worth it as it might be on other ships, because if they were kind of positioning Icon as like a new and improved, like would have liked to have seen that carried over to some of the fan favorite restaurants as well.
It was pretty much a clone of the menus that were on all of the other ships, but we definitely paid more to eat at Chops on Icon than we have on other sailings, where it was definitely cheaper.
Up next is Coastal Kitchen. Now this is an included option specifically for suite guests and Pinnacle Club members. This is located in the suite neighborhood on deck 16, and it is open for all meals, but only for dinner if you are in a junior suite. We did not stay in a suite on this sailing, so we are unable to show you inside or talk about the food, but if you are in a suite, just know this is available for you aboard the ship.
Up next, we have Giovanni's Italian Kitchen and Wine Bar. Now, Giovanni's table has been on past Royal Caribbean ships, so this is just a slight variation, so we can pretty much call this a returning favorite at this point. It is an upcharge. We paid about $58 a person for us to have dinner here. It is open for both lunch and dinner on Icon. They have a pretty wide Italian menu. We had pizza, lasagna, burrata, that sort of thing. But I do think we like
Jamie's.
We like Jamie's on the Royal ships better than Giovanni's.
I think that's a little bit of a hot take because Jamie's isn't as widely available across the fleet.
Yeah.
Just in comparison, this was our first time eating at any iteration of Giovanni's, and it just didn't really give me the ROI.
Yeah, we had Jamie's on Harmony and Ovation.
Yeah.
And we just enjoyed those meals much more than our Giovanni's meal, but that's just our personal take. What I do really like about this restaurant is they have the wine bar, and you can order, like you can just walk up there and they have a special appetizer menu, which had a lot of great food items so that you don't have to make a full dining reservation and commit, you know, $100 and something for a dinner. You could just walk up and get, you know, like a meatball appetizer or get a pizza or something and not, you know, commit a lot of money and a full meal, and you can just walk up and get a nice glass of wine or something.
Yeah.
So I really like that concept, and you have great views of the Royal Promenade. And in case I didn't mention, Giovanni's is open for both lunch and dinner, and it is located on deck 6 of the Royal Promenade, so actually the second floor overlooking the Royal Promenade and right across from the Pearl, so it has great views.
And if you're eating at Giovanni's in the daylight, it is next to one of the windows in the Royal Promenade, so you can get ocean views during your meal, which is pretty cool. Up next is Hooked Seafood. This is located in the AquaDome on deck 15, and Icon is only the 4th ship in the Royal Caribbean fleet to have hooked seafood from when it debuted on Symphony of the Seas in 2018. This restaurant is open for lunch and dinner, and it is an upcharge. Lunch will always be a little bit cheaper than dinner, so just keep that in mind. And some of the items you could find on the menu are your Maryland crab cakes, fish and chips, your Maine lobster rolls, so all of your typical seafood dishes at this restaurant.
Up next, we have Izumi Hibachi and Sushi. This is another fan favorite. It is located in Central Park on deck 8, the first time that Izumi has ever been in Central Park, and it is located right next to Izumi in the park, that walk-up window that we talked about earlier. This restaurant is actually in 2 parts. So you have the hibachi tables where you can enjoy hibachi, and then the other part of the restaurant is regular tables where you will order off a sushi menu. This restaurant is open for both lunch and dinner, and it is an upcharge, with lunch obviously being a little bit cheaper than dinner. And we paid in advance about $69 per person to do the hibachi dinner. And then when we were there, I paid a $15 upcharge to order a roll of sushi as an appetizer to go along with my meal. Found it completely worth it. It was a really fun show. The food was really good. Definitely recommend
Chef was
this
great.
restaurant. Yes, absolutely. Really enjoyed just sitting at the hibachi tables because it gave us a chance to talk to some of like the other people at the table, the other cruisers, especially just being on a maiden voyage. Like those are like die-hard cruisers and to hear like some of their stories. But I also just really like how, since Izumi was in Central Park, that they had outdoor seating for the restaurant. So just, I love seating outside in Central Park in general, so loved that that was an option.
Up next is the main dining room. Now, if you are not a suite guest, this is the only sit-down restaurant that's included in your cruise fare. It's located on decks 3, 4, and 5. Like aboard all the other ships, it's a pretty big restaurant, so plenty of tables to go around. The main dining room is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, within the last couple of years, the Royal Caribbean main dining room menus have changed a little bit to basically get you in and out of the dining room a little bit quicker. You essentially have less options on the menu, and they are spread across multiple theme nights. So you'll have like a Caribbean night, you'll have an Asian night, an Italian night. We specifically ate there on Caribbean night. I actually had a really good Caribbean chicken dish, but I think overall the food in the main dining room is good to pretty good. It's not as good, I think, as you would find in one of the specialty restaurants aboard the ship. But overall, I think you're gonna go there, you're gonna have a pretty solid meal. And specifically the staff that we interacted with in the main dining room was amazing. I think, you know, you're going there for a good meal, a good experience, and it's just a good included option aboard your sailing.
Up next, we have Pier 7, which is a brand new concept located in Surfside on deck 7. And this is all day brunch. I'm a big fan. So this is an upcharge, but we actually found it pretty inexpensive. So we went there for brunch one day and I had fish tacos, and they were $9, and you had like a lettuce wrap situation and they were like $10. So yes, a bummer that it's an upcharge, but relatively inexpensive, especially for the quality of the food that we received here. But really enjoyed this concept, especially because a lot of the offerings in Surfside are geared toward, you know, more kid-friendly food. So for parents and grandparents kind of hanging out in Surfside, this is definitely something created more with them in mind, so that they don't actually have to leave Surfside to get something that will kind of satisfy their palates.
Last but not least for the sit-down restaurants is Playmakers Sports Bar and Arcade. This is a fan favorite that is found on multiple Royal Caribbean ships. It's a relatively new concept for them, probably in the last 5 to 10 years or so they started bringing it on their ships. And it's your go-to sports bar. So if you want to watch a baseball game, football game. On Icon, this restaurant is technically located in the Royal Promenade. It is a little bit aft of the Royal Promenade, but on deck 6, as you were walking back towards Absolute Zero, which is the new ice skating venue aboard the ship. And it is not included in your cruise fare. Everything here is an upcharge. We actually ate here for the first time on Icon and had a really good meal. We enjoyed some beers, I had some nachos, Jenna had a chicken sandwich. So overall, a fairly solid meal. I would say that being the nacho connoisseur that I am, probably not the best plate of nachos that I had, but still a good go-to if you're looking for that type of kind of sports pub food on the ship.
My chicken sandwich though was pretty dope. Last but not least, there are some miscellaneous places that Royal Caribbean didn't include on their list of food items or eateries that we still think are worth mentioning. Up first, we have the Trellis Bar, which is located in Central Park on deck 8. Now, the Trellis Bar has some appetizers and small plates that we actually ate as our dinner one night, and I must say,
it was really good.
This actually made our list of Icon of the Seas awards as the why isn't anybody talking about this award, because that's how good these appetizers were.
It's right next to Chops Grill, so they use the Chops Grill kitchen for this food.
We shared a Caesar salad, we got the mac and cheese poppers, but the real hit was the steak bites. They were marinated beef tips glazed with sweet Thai chili sauce, caramelized onions, garlic brushed toast, and Trellis Bar signature sauce.
Really good.
I'd go back on Icon just for those. So Trellis Bar, put that on your list for sure. That is a must.
Up next is Starbucks. This is located in the Royal Promenade on deck 5, and it is not included in your cruise fare. Everything here will be an incremental cost. You can use your Starbucks rewards program here. However, you cannot redeem any rewards here. So you can use your card to pay for the food or drinks if you have funds on the card, but you cannot redeem stars or any other perks at this location on the ship. Since it is a Starbucks though, it does have all of your favorites from your drinks and your food. So if you want that little kind of taste of home aboard your sailing, you could get that at Starbucks. And if you have the deluxe beverage package, Starbucks is still an upcharge.
Up next, we have Sugar Beach, which is the candy shop conveniently located in Surfside on deck 7, right next to the arcade. Everything that you get here would be an upcharge. So great for the kids running around Surfside and the families to head on in and grab some candy, grab some fudge, all of the sweets available in Sugar Beach. And this is also where the cupcake decorating classes happen as well, is located inside Sugar Beach. But great place to go when you have that sugar craving.
Last but not least on our list of dining options aboard Icon of the Seas is the Vitality Spa Café. This is located within the Vitality Spa on deck 14. None of the items here are included in your cruise fare. Everything will be an upcharge, and they have everything from juices to smoothies. You could also get mimosas and bellinis here as well. So just a good option to go to if you're heading to or from the Vitality Spa. Hopefully this video was informative. As the largest cruise ship in the world, Icon of the Seas does have a lot of dining options aboard it. So like we mentioned, we weren't able to do everything in a week aboard the ship, but we got to most of it, and hopefully we were able to give you some information that will be helpful if you are planning on going on Icon of the Seas. But that is everything we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media at A Couple Travelers.
And until next time, keep traveling.